Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Stories on the Small Screen. Today, we're going to get into the new Netflix movie called End of the Road. It stars Queen Latifah and Ludacris, aka Chris Bridges. So basically, End of the Road is about a woman named Brenda, I believe. She's played by Queen Latifah, and she loses her husband due to cancer. She kind of struggles to keep her family finances together, so she has to sell the home. So she decides to relocate her family, her son, her daughter, and her brother, Reggie, which is played by Ludacris. So she's going to relocate her family actually to Texas. I believe her mother lives in Texas. She decides to sell the home, or I think she loses the home. Her kids are not happy about that, but they're a strong family unit, and basically Brenda, Queen Latifah, is the boss and the mother, so they're gonna do what she says. Basically, Ludacris' character Reggie is the brother, her baby brother, the uncle of the kids, of course, and he's making this journey with them. I'm not sure if he's a screw up or he just hasn't found his niche yet of what he should be doing in life, but he's taking that trip with them. Along the way, it seems like a pretty boring ride from LA to Texas. And 3 hours in, Queen Latifah notices no one's talking to each other. So, she's basically trying to get the family to talk. They stop at this gas station, however, and on the way out, well, actually in the gas station attendant asks Queen Latifah, was she just coming through with a detour? Brenda says yes, because the detour was when they were driving, they were doing construction, so they had to take another way, which set them back a couple hours on their trip. But to make a long story short, the attendant was asking that because he says, Brenda says, is that a problem? And he goes, not for me. Basically warning them, like, where you're at is not a good place if you're black, but, that's your business, not mine. But on the way out, Brenda's daughter, the teenage daughter, you know how teenagers are, these two guys, they weren't friendly guys. They were racist and they were making raunchy, basically, making raunchy signs to her. So she gave them the middle finger. She didn't think anything of it. She got back in the car. They drove away, and lo and behold, a few minutes later, who's behind them? The two guys who were basically making obscene gestures to her. And first, Reggie, the brother played by Ludacris, was like, what's up? All upset. And Brenda couldn't figure out why these guys were following them. And they were trying to run them off the road. So finally, the daughter goes, I didn't know. I gave him the middle finger. And Brenda's like, are you serious? Do you know where we're at? Basically, you're in a town called, it's basically like a place called, Sundown. And for those of you who don't know what sundown means, leave town if you're black before the sun goes down, because it won't be good for you. So basically, these two guys keep trying to run them off the road. Finally, Brenda stops the car, and the brother Reggie, who's pissed off by now, wants to get out and, open up a can of whoop ass. But that basically will make things worse. So Brenda said, no, let me handle it. She gets out the car. She walks over to the guys are parked in front of her, blocking her way so she can't even drive through them. So she goes, what is the problem? And then they're basically doing what racists do, acting like they're the problem, Brenda and her family, and basically they want an apology. Not only apology, they want to humiliate Brenda and her family. So she goes, I'm sorry that whatever I did, I apologize. Now can you move on? Of course, that type of apology to people like that was never a good one. So they basically made her say it like she means it. So she basically has to humiliate herself to kind of save her family and apologize to these I won't even call them the name I want to call them. Anyways, apologize to these guys to get out the way. So she says the apology. They finally accept it. And then they had a nerve to laugh like, ha ha ha, we're just kidding with you, and drive off. And they show a shotgun and it was one of those things that kind of piss you off. But Brenda gets back in the car. Everyone's all upset, crying. Of course, Reggie's still pissed. And they decided to go to Tucson, I believe, where they can get a hotel. And then Queen Latifah tells her son, we're on a budget, so let's find a motel. So that's where that scene ended. So they get to the hotel, no, excuse me, motel, because they're on a serious budget. And they're in one room. It has two beds. So they're all getting ready for sleep. They had, some words they talked about Reggie's snoring and things like that. But once they wind down, they decide, they went to sleep until they heard banging at 4 a.m. And the daughter wakes up. And by the way, her name is Kelly, I believe, in the show. So I hope I'm getting it correct in this movie. And Kelly's like, Mom, what's that? And they hear banging. And they wake Reggie up. And he's like, is somebody having a party? And she's like, it's 4 a.m. It's not a party. And then they hear things basically being tussled. And basically Brenda's like, that's next door. So they're putting their ear to the wall. And then all of a sudden they're like, that's a fight. So Brenda, I don't know what got into her saying she's going over there and they're trying to stop her. And she's like, that could be a woman for all I know getting beat up. And then all of a sudden they hear a gunshot. And I'm not sure if it's one gunshot or two, but they heard a gunshot and it stops them all in their track. And then they're scared. The kids are scared. Like Brenda stops in her track and Reggie's like, wait a second. And she's like, well, we got to go over there. He's like, no, we don't. So nevertheless, they go over there, not the kids, just Reggie and Brenda, and they find a man with a gunshot wound. Basically, a gunshot wound to the neck where he's been assaulted. And that's basically how the main preference of this movie. They are kind of witnesses or to a murder, but they only heard what happened. But not only are they witness to a murder, Reggie finds a bag of money, a bag of drug money. And I have to rewind. The guy that was killed, there was an opening scene where he was stealing his boss's drug money. So this is the same guy that's in the hotel that was shot. They caught up with him and they were looking for the money and they didn't have time to get it. But you know who had time to get it? The brother Reggie. They end up leaving for the next day. The sheriff comes in, and I believe his name is Hammers, and he was like, well, we need to find them because they're witnesses and we need to talk to them. So he's trying to get a hold of them. And basically Brenda keeps hanging up the phone saying, I will call you when I get back to my destination. So they end up going to, I'm not sure if they're at a restaurant or a truck stop, and they're getting cleaned up. And basically Reggie shares, Brenda basically goes, I know you did something. What'd you do? Reggie shares that he stole the bag of money. The bag of drug money. You know that was not going to be well, and you know they're going to come looking for them. So the movie End of the Road, I'm going to kind of speed it up so this video won't be too long. It's basically about Brenda and her family, Reggie stealing the drug money, the drug people want the money back, the sheriff trying to help them, supposedly. The sheriff ended up being corrupt, and he was the person that in this whole town that everyone's scared of. I think he goes the name as Cross. He's a corrupt, and he wanted his money back, basically. So once he catches up with Brenda and her family, Brenda agrees to take the money back. She comes up with a plan to take this money back to a hotel, leave it there in the closet, and give it, so they can get it back. That didn't work, of course. Something always happens. I believe the person working at the hotel, she was a cleaner and she stole the money. The sheriff ends up kidnapping Brenda's son. And then that's a whole nother roller coaster we're on. She's trying to get her son back. He actually kidnaps Reggie and the daughter. Brenda has to fight off these other people that stole the money. To come to find out, they find out the sheriff's crooked again all of a sudden. And now he brings his crazy wife in it as well. He convinces them to go to his house thinking that he's a good guy. And that's when they found out the son was in the trunk. Yes, this is a spoiler. I warned you in the title that it was a spoiler alert. So now you know. The son was in the trunk. The sheriff was the kidnapper. And now they have Brenda's entire whole family as hostage because they want this money back. They go back and forth to get the money. Of course, there's a good couple of fight scenes and struggle scenes. But with all said and done, Queen Latifah, I keep calling her Queen Latifah, Brenda gets her family back and they get rid of the sheriff and his crazy wife. And you're going to be entertained at the end with a few fight scenes between the wife and, the husband. Because they're older, and I'm not aging anyone because I'm no young spring chicken myself. But it was funny to see these two older couple fight, the young people. And anyways, Brenda's family, of course, came out as victors. And to make a long story short, Reggie being Reggie might have kept the money, might not have. I'll let you guys figure it out and when you watch it. And actually what I'm going to do I enjoyed the movie. I mean, was it a big screen movie? No, but actually I enjoyed it, I was entertained. And on a scale of 1 to 10, I give it a solid 7. It was pretty good. Like I said, it'd be a great date night. It'd be a great family night movie. And of course, we always enjoy Queen Latifah. We always enjoy Ludacris when he does acting. And we forgot to mention the guy that played the sheriff was Beau Bridges. You know, he's been around in Hollywood for a long time. So go check it out. I recommend it. And I want to say thanks again for watching Stories on the Small Screen. Please give my channel a like or share or both and subscribe. And we'll see you next time.